Let's go over the accessibility audit process using the WCAG 2.1 AA standard. And that is what I have first on the screen is that we are going to set a technical standard for our audit. So we're going to be evaluating our digital asset against this technical standard. Now, WCAG 2.1 AA is comprised of 50 success criteria. Think of these as requirements. Think of these as things to account for or things to do for accessibility. Sometimes clients opt for WCAG 2.2 AA. This adds 6 additional success criteria to 2.1 AA. Now that we've got the standard set, let's select our environments. Now, your service provider likely already has default environments such as Chrome browser and NVDA screen reader, but we need to decide whether our audit is going to consist of both desktop and mobile environments or one or the other. So most times clients are going to want both environments, and that is because their digital asset is accessed in both environments. But sometimes it's one or the other. So obviously for mobile apps, that's going to be a mobile only environment. And then with software, that's going to be a desktop only environment most of the time. So here we're deciding what environments to choose for our audit. So what environments our audit is going to be conducted in. Next, we are going to set the scope for our audit. So here we are determining what pages, screens, views, and content are included in our audit. So when it comes to this just think of we want to make sure to include the primary user flows. We want to make sure we use the primary page templates and layouts, and we also want to try to include as much unique content as we can. If our audit is not going to span the entire digital asset, we want to have a representative sample of that digital asset comprise the scope of our audit. Next, we actually begin the formal evaluation. And the formal evaluation is always fully manual. It's never going to be automated. We only use an automated scan as a review. We don't use an automated scan to determine what issues exist. It's only a review to ensure that any issues that are correctly flagged by an automated scan are included in our audit report. So for our formal evaluation, we will be screen reader testing, we will be keyboard testing, we will be visually inspecting, and we will also be looking at the code where applicable. We're using all different types of evaluation methodologies to ensure that we identify all accessibility issues for the given scope of our audit. Next, we issue the audit report. So once the audit is completed, then the report is compiled and finalized. And here the client is going to get back an identification of all of the accessibility issues that exist, a description of those issues, the location of those issues, and then also help with fixing those issues. So recommendations on how to fix the issue. The associated WCAG success criterion with the issue will also be included in the audit report. So what typically happens next is the client's team will fix the issues found in the audit report. And then once they have completed the fixes, then the auditor will go back and validate to make sure that those fixes have been made correctly. Now, what happens all the time is that there are some accessibility issues that aren't resolved on the first round. So the validation will go back a few times, but what ends up happening is we reach a point of either full conformance or client acknowledgement and or satisfaction at the state of accessibility. So we want to greatly reduce the number of accessibility issues. Let's say 100 were found in the audit. And so we want to at least fix as many of those as possible. Sometimes due to third-party integrations, resolving all of the issues isn't possible. So there, the client might be satisfied at reaching a certain point, acknowledging that these third-party integrations are presenting certain accessibility issues, or just due to practical limitations, technical limitations, there may be a few outstanding issues where the client acknowledges that those exist. But ideally, optimally, we will reach a point of full conformance with the technical standard that we have audited against. With this, with this tutorial right here, we're using WCAG 2.1 AA. So we want to make sure that there are no issues under WCAG 2.1 AA. And then if that is the case, the digital asset for the scope defined will be fully conformant. And then from here, we can issue whatever documentation is called for. Now, a lot of times clients will initially ask for a VPAT. And so at this point, we can also issue an ACR. The ACR is going to be much cleaner after this process. We've undergone this process where we found the issues. We've in effect paused, given the team time to fix, gone through validation, go back and forth a few rounds, and then resolve all of the issues or as many as possible. And then we fill in the VPAT, and it's going to be a much cleaner VPAT as a result. And then once the VPAT is complete, we issue that VPAT. It becomes an ACR. So just note that a VPAT is the template. Once it's filled in, it becomes an ACR or an accessibility conformance report. And then that is what is issued to a client if they're interested in VPAT services. Otherwise, it just comes down to what documentation is appropriate. But this is the audit process. And if you would like help with an audit, feel free to reach out to me at accessible.org. I will include a contact link in the description.